Laugh out loud, it's the place to be, where geeky minds meet so naturally. From pixel legends to blockbuster heart, dive right in, let's set this vibe apart.
Laugh Out Loud, it is the place to go when you want to watch the BM show. Or actually listen to the BM show, I guess. Well, you can still watch it.
You can watch, you can listen, you can do whatever you want. As long as we get the view and subscribe, because we get enough subscribers, we get paid to do that.
If we get enough subscribers, we could retire.
We could retire. Yeah, we only need 1 billion subscribers, and then we could retire.
We're almost there. I mean, you know.
With how much they pay, I think it would cost us it'd probably take 1 billion.
So tell your friends, and tell your friends to tell their friends, and tell their friends to tell their friends, and so on and so on. I figure if that everyone who's a subscriber right now could get 42,000 people to subscribe as well, I think we could hit that billion number pretty quick.
Yeah, if everybody just got 5 friends to subscribe, in 20 moves, we'll have the entire world, or something like that.
So we got a pretty good show tonight here that we're going to be going through, but first we do have something important that we have to mention. If you have not caught it yet, there's been some changes to the show. For those of you that have come here looking for saving money, and those who are looking into hearing about Beanie, those segments have actually been broken off from the show so that we can stick to kind of the main topic and then little events that happen here and there. So the saving money videos, they're actually up at this point. Both of them are up. Saving money is now going to appear Thursday morning Pacific time after everything drops. I'm going to get those up as quick as I can. And then the blooming news will be coming up around the same time that this video, the main topic, comes up. And in fact, the blooming news for this week video is already up. The short should be up soon. It's just that the editor of this short is a real dum-dum when it comes to this. So we had to hire a professional to take it from here. So that professional is going to fix it up and throw it up there.
Yeah, Mike's actually trying to learn how to edit. So that's folks, you're inspiring Mike to learn new things. There you go.
Yes.
There you go. Good for you.
So yeah. So if you're looking for those, check our channel. The videos are up. They're there. And just be prepared. Make sure to subscribe, because when you subscribe, then you get notifications of the new videos. So you'll be ready to rock and roll when those games start coming out.
Well, you gotta make sure you hit the bell to get notifications. If you hit the bell twice, you get it where like it tells you as soon as we upload something, you'll get your thing will turn red. Your bell will turn red, and then if you have notifications on your phone will let you know.
And if you hit the bell 5 or 6 times, then you're just being one of those annoying customers that, ding, 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 ding at the hotel desk.
Yeah, no matter how many times you're ringing, we're not gonna show up. So
exactly.
That's ring-a-ling-a-ling, ring-a-ding-a-ding.
So with that being said, the good news is we can actually get into our main topic tonight.
Yeah.
It's WrestleMania weekend.
Not really. WrestleMania was like a month or 2 ago, but
it's the aftermath of WrestleMania weekend.
Yes. If you didn't have enough watching Saturday night's main event was last week, and this week is nothing. But there's stuff next week. Next week, I think they're doing stuff. I think they're doing Evolution or something. I don't know. People are complaining now that there's too many wrestling pay-per-views. There's like 3 this month or something. I don't even know.
Well, how much are pay-per-views?
You just about you get Peacock, and that's like all the WWE pay-per-views are on Peacock now. Or you could pay $50 a piece and watch them through your cable system. It's your choice.
Yeah, so if you don't have Peacock, I could see how it's getting to be too much.
Yeah, but like if you don't have, but the thing it's expensive to begin with. I've been actually I've been thinking about making a parody video about somebody asking about how they can watch all the wrestling and just show how expensive it's getting. It's like, okay, so You want to watch wrestling. Okay, do you want to watch all of WWE or do you only want some of the brands? It's like, well, I only want, okay, how much are some of the brands? Like, okay, well, some of the brands, if you want to watch NXT, you get an antenna and it's free on the CW.
Hmm.
And then if you want to watch Raw, you get Netflix. And so Netflix is what, $10 or $18 a month, depending if you want commercials or not. And then if you want want to watch SmackDown, you need USA. The cheapest place to get USA is to go and pay like $40 a month over at sling.com. See how this is getting expensive?
Yeah.
Oh, you want to watch the pay-per-views? Oh, they're all on Peacock. Peacock, that's another $10 a month. Unless you get one of their annual deals like I did and pay $20 for the year.
Do you remember the days when this was all just on like Saturday mornings after the cartoons?
Yeah, and then they had 4 pay-per-views a year, and the pay-per-views were like $30.
Yeah.
Granted, that was like $30 in 1980s, which is like $80 now, but you know, it's become very expensive, and also they put advertisements everywhere. There's ads all over the mat. There's ads all over the ringside. Every match is brought to you by somebody else, and it's just become. And it's over the last couple of years this has happened too. Ever since the old man left, ever since Vince McMahon left, it all became insanely commercialized.
Mm.
Like, and now they're doing multiple pay-per-views. They're playing pay-per-views around when the other guys are doing their pay-per-views so they can fuck with them, even though nobody's really watching the other guy anyways.
Yeah.
It's just making it worse for them. It's like if you were playing a kid and you're winning against a kid like 20-0, and then you still continued to play hard against the kid.
I would.
It's like after a while, you're like, you know what? Just end the game. Just
Well, that's the thing. No sympathy. You got to learn life's lessons early, and that's what it is.
yeah. I don't know. It's almost coming off a little bit mean spirited though that they're going out of their way, and then they think, oh, they're not our competition. Oh, by the way, we've moved a couple of our shows, or they're the same day or the same weekend to burn the audience out. Oh, we're going to do the same city a week before they go to that city to burn the audience out. It's like, well, why wouldn't we go to see the AEW show? We just watched WWE like this week. We just went to the show already. Why would I go next week to another show from the other company?
Mm.
And that's what they're doing. They're scheduling. They're trying to beat them down, and they're trying to put them out of business. But they're not going to put them out of business because the guy who owns the copyright or whatever. What do you call it when it's a patent? He owns the patent to some thing that goes on everybody's bumper,
Mhm.
so every car has it,
Mhm.
and so he gets paid every single time a car is made. His kid owns the other wrestling company.
Mhm.
And since I own a car and you own a car and everybody I know owns a damn car, they're making some good money off this patent.
Yeah.
I don't think the money's gonna dry up anytime soon. But WWE's acting like this guy only has like a certain amount. Maybe they know something I don't know. I don't give a shit enough to know this. Whatever.
So with that, why don't we get into what we're gonna so we did something here interesting. We've been talking about this for a while now.
Yes.
Taking actor or how should I say, taking specific types of I don't want to say roles or how would we classify a wrestler here? Specific occupation and how they cross over.
Okay, so this is wrestling related, and what we're doing is we're doing movies that have wrestlers in it. Um, 2 of them are good, and one of them, depending on your sense of
Don't
humor,
don't spoil anything.
might be good.
So basically, we took here's how there's 3 movies here.
Yeah.
One is a wrestler who's in a movie that's not about wrestling.
Yes.
One is a non-wrestler that's in a movie about wrestling. The third one is a bonus one that it doesn't really. I guess it can fall into the second category, but it doesn't really. But it's a good one to add in this situation because it's a good balance, I think.
I was actually surprised. I mentioned the movie to one of my buddies at work, and he watched it and he thought it was a really good film. And so I know now that this is based on a book. right?
Okay.
I don't know. We'll talk about it when we get to it.
So maybe it's a wrestler that's in a movie that's not wrestling, a non-wrestler movie that's wrestling, and a wrestler that wrote a book that became a movie with non-wrestlers. We don't know. But
Yeah, we'll come along on a journey and we will find it all out together.
so tonight, the movies that we are going to be talking about are They Live, Ready to Rumble, and the Peanut Butter Falcon.
What does the Falcon do? What kind of noise do they make?
I don't know.
I forgot. Those just.
No,
I forgot.
I don't know. All right, so we're gonna get into it. We're gonna start with They Live, which means Ben's gonna give us the synopsis, and then he's gonna give us his opinion, and then I'm gonna jump off.
Are you ready?
Go for it.
All right. They Live is a 1988 American science fiction action film written and directed by John Carpenter, based on a 1963 short story, 8 O'Clock in the Morning by Ray Nelson. The film stars Hot Rod Roddy Piper, Keith David, and Meg Foster. The story follows a drifter named John Nada, who discovers a pair of sunglasses that reveal the hidden truth of the world. Aliens have infiltrated human society and use subliminal messages to manipulate people into obedience and consumerism. With the help of his fellow laborer, Frank, Nada sets out to expose the conspiracy and fight back against the alien overlords. Noted for its social commentary, satirical edge, and iconic fight scene, They Live has become a cult classic and a staple of 1980s counterculture cinema. So I start this one, right?
Yes.
This movie is great. I love this movie. It comes off as like being a cheaper 80s film, and it is, but it's the story that is just so good. Like you got Hot Rod Roddy Piper, as you can see right here, he's wearing these sunglasses. So it's to show that like behind every advertisement, every magazine, every TV show, everything we see, everything we buy, it's telling us to just be sheep led to the slaughter. And this one, like it's a reflection on the earth and like how everything actually is in today's world. But like, it's presented that the aliens are doing this, which some people believe. They believe in the lizard people and all that fun stuff. I don't know if any of that's true, but this was movies kind of like leaning into that. I do like the idea that it shows that, like, because there are people there's psychology nerds who are hired to sit there in groups and figure out how to get people to spend more and buy more and all that. And this movie kind of like reflects on that.
Mhm.
So I do recommend this movie. I think this is one of those movies like I think everybody should see this movie at least once, just so it can almost like if it doesn't open your eyes, it at least gives you a good perspective on like what like a good perspective on what's going on in the world. Just doesn't do a sci-fi thing like how Star Trek does it with aliens. That's what they're doing. They're showing that the world is corrupt and trying to control us, and it's doing it through aliens.
Yeah. So I love this movie as well too, and I think it's funny because I can say that this movie feels like it's.
I know it went to the next movie. Sorry.
That's okay. It feels like this movie is ahead of its time, but it's also behind its time. And it does the behind its time actually really well. Now, I do want to mention first that I was talking with Maria about this, and I mentioned the movies that we're going to do today. And when I mentioned They Live, the first thing she said was, "Oh, that's such a good movie." And I had that he is a wrestler, and she didn't know it. And if you're just watching the movie, he does a good job of not being the wrestler him. I mean, you would never know it. And I wouldn't, because what I remember from him was he would wear kilts all the time, right? In his wrestling matches.
Yeah. Yeah, like, normally you see Roddy Piper and he's okay, this is him from WrestleMania 1.
Yeah, I mean, just seeing him in the movie though, you just it's hard to connect him to actually this wrestling persona.
Mm.
So it's very interesting how well he actually was able to transition into such a good role. And the when I say it's ahead of its time because of the subject matter. I mean, this is stuff that this is what's going on today. And like you mentioned, yeah, some people believe that there's aliens and whatnot. This is a conspiracy theory, but I will say I don't. That's nothing that I believe, but it could be true. I mean, I should be using because I'm true what I did now. So who knows? Believe what you want to believe. I would believe that this kind of stuff is going on where they do so well in the subliminal messages that people are that far asleep that they're just going about their day consuming, and that's all they're able to do. But why I said it was behind its time is actually the style. And I love how it does it behind the time because whenever he puts on the sunglasses, it feels like it just transforms back into like some sort of 1950s sci-fi movie.
Hmm.
Like I feel like he puts on those glasses and he looks at the city like some sort of cheesy UFO is gonna fly by. It doesn't, but it has that feeling to it.
I think it gives it like it's an episode. Almost feels like it's an episode of the Twilight Zone.
Yes, that's a good point, and that's the other thing is that it's behind its time because it feels like it's still, like, something that would be a made-for-TV movie. A very good one, and a one that it definitely fits in the movie theaters, but it still has that kind of like a made-for-TV vibe to it rather than being this big, blockbuster show that you'd expect to go see when you go to the movies. And I wonder if it's that way because they didn't think it was gonna do any sort of a dent whatsoever. So they're just like, okay, we're just gonna kind of, crap this out. And turns out they ended up having this massive gem on their hands and didn't realize it was gonna happen.
I think that this movie is one of those where it's probably made more money as it's lived on than it did in the beginning. It probably has always
It,
made the same amount, but continuously year after year because people get turned on to it and then they'll watch it and then they'll tell somebody else to watch it.
mm,
And it's just, it's one of those kind of movies where because it's like because of the messaging in it and
yeah,
the layers to it. And it just, it comes off also like that this was probably not a very expensive movie to make.
yeah,
Like this was probably this is actually a B film.
mhm,
So, but it's one of those B films that graduated up to A caliber, I think, because it's just how memorable and how yeah, like generation after generation
mhm.
of
Well,
like
'cause
watch this.
everyone feels like they could connect with it, with the subject matter of it, and
Yeah.
I think we could call it, even though this movie came after it, it has what you're mentioning, it has a Donnie Darko effect, where when it's in theaters, I don't know if this is true, but I think when it's in theaters, it didn't really do anything, but afterwards, word of mouth changed it, and it became something that everybody knew.
Yeah. Yeah, it's something that like because I heard about it from somebody who was reviewing it on YouTube, talking about like how they did the imagery and the social commentary of the whole thing. Like here, they're actually going to show the aliens, but honestly, do you even need the aliens? Could this have been just like it's just rich people, rich like corporations who are doing this, and they're doing it with scientists and stuff? Like they found a new way of, like it's actually science that came up with this, and not because it has to do with aliens. Like, does it always have to do with aliens? It sounds like just it's such a crutch.
Well, that's the thing is that it may be that way because they want to make it still a fantasy type of situation.
But it feels like they're doing it to explain the technology away. It's like, how did they come up with technology? Like, oh, aliens did it.
Yeah.
Where instead of they just go and say, "No, this is something that, like, the Nazis started working on in 1942," and, so, like, once an American scientist found out about it, instead of burying the project, they actually worked on it even more, and see, I'm already writing the backstory for them. It could've been, like, a whole thing like that, but they made it where like I said, where it has to be aliens.
Yeah, and it has to be a movie also, it has to be something that's entertaining.
Yeah, like, of course, like, these guys are all aliens here, but what if they were always with us or
Yeah.
something, or they had the Earth before we did, and they lived alongside us on the Earth, there's so many other ways you can go with it. It's just
Mhm.
Maybe it's because I'm just tired of aliens always being. They have the technology. Aliens.
Well, then don't think about aliens. Think of it as dinosaurs. Think of them as dinosaurs that
Well, you're
evolved
making me think of
secretly.
Super Mario Brothers movie.
There you go. Yeah, exactly. They were living inside the world, the Earth the whole time.
Yeah,
They-
they were with us the whole time, and they're like the mole men in the Superman movie from 1935.
Hence why the movie's called They Live, because they actually survived
Yeah.
extinction.
It's a great movie though. Like I said, this is like the commentary, and John Carpenter movie. Like he's the guy who did Halloween. So this guy, the one guy here, Frank, his voice. He's got one of those voices, you've heard it before. He's done video games. I think he might have been the voice for the guy from Splinter Cell at first. I'm not really sure.
He's also the guy that hates cops and rent-a-cops. You understand that reference?
I know. What's that from?
I believe he's the guy in Men at Work,
Oh, okay.
who's the guy that's like rent-a-cops. I hate them too.
I don't think I've ever seen Men at Work.
Oh man, so that's gonna be that's gonna be added to dude. I think for Labor Day we have to do what we originally talked about, because now we got Men at Work and the other one. We'll flesh that out a little bit later.
Yeah.
We're not doing the episodes, but expect some good topics coming, people. We got them in the works.
So, what's the recommendation here on They Live with Roddy Piper?
My recommendation is you need to see this movie.
You could tell he's a wrestler. His chest is shaved.
Okay, well, I'm sorry, I wasn't checking out his chest.
Well, most people don't shave their chest, but wrestlers do. They shave their body hair because you're going skin on skin with somebody else for sport. Uh,
That sounds wrong.
and it's considered to be polite to not have like your smelly, sweaty hair on them.
Well, I think they could also pull your hair too.
That too.
Yeah.
But it's all predetermined. So it's not like you'd have to go in there. It's like, yeah, go in there and start pulling my chest hair.
I just think that whenever he puts on those glasses, she gets real ugly.
Yeah, she gets real ugly.
All right, you also recommend it as well too.
What's that?
You also recommend it. It sounded like.
Yeah, I was gonna say like she might get ugly, but this movie doesn't. This movie is like I said, this is a B movie that became an A movie over time. It's just one of those.
Back to the 80s, and it's still just phenomenal today.
Yeah, it's a B plus movie that became an A minus movie, just because of time and how accurate it really hits on all these social norms and how
Yeah.
corporations just want us to be living walking money pits.
Yep. Exactly. All right, so I think that's going to do when They Live.
Yep, let me get back to my playlist. I gotta back it up a little. Okay. And get ready for our next movie.
Next one's going to be people or actors that become wrestlers. Go ahead and take it, Ben.
All right. Ready to Rumble is a 2000 American sports comedy, film directed by Brian Robbins and written by Stephen Brill. So you know where to send your hate mail. The film stars former WCW World Heavyweight Champion David Arquette. Yes, he actually did win the championship at one of their shows. Scott Caan, Oliver Platt, he plays Jimmy King, and features numerous cameos by professional wrestlers from World Championship Wrestling, including Sting, Diamond Dallas Page, and Bill Goldberg, and others. The plot centers on two dim-witted wrestling fans, Gordy and Sean, who set out to help their idol wrestler Jimmy King reclaim his championship title after being betrayed and ousted by a rival and corrupt promotion, which is not exactly how the story goes, but okay. The film blends slapstick humor with over-the-top wrestling action and is intended as a promotional tie-in with World Championship Wrestling. Although a box office disappointment and critically panned, Ready to Rumble has gained a cult following among wrestling fans and is notable for its connection to the real-life WCW storyline, where David Arquette briefly became World Heavyweight Champion. Mike, The floor is yours.
All right. This movie is stupid. And when I say that, I don't mean stupid like a ha ha ha, you so stupid. No, I mean this movie. There are things that contribute to the dumbing down of society. Common Core, cell phones, and Ready to Rumble. I they're the thing is, I feel like they're trying to tap into the overused duo type thing that's been done in things like Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure. It's been done in Wayne's World. I'll even mention Biodome at this point does that, and all of those do it so much more classy. Even Biodome does it so much more classy than this does.
Hmm.
I mean, it's there's nothing in this that I can actually latch onto and swallow. Especially, and I like Oliver Platt. I think he's a great actor. He is not a wrestler.
Yeah.
He is not believable at all as a wrestler. And he's like the main wrestler of the movie. He's like the one that everyone's following. So
You know,
go ahead.
no, I was gonna go to a little bit of my thing. I'll just hold on to it. Go ahead.
Okay. So I've already got this notion of a fake wrestler being the main character. So it makes the whole movie itself feel just fake and just pushed off. And it's obviously they're trying to do the same thing that say Dungeons and Dragons movie did, where it really doesn't have any sort of relevance except to say, oh, this is a wrestling movie. Now all you wrestling fans, and to quote the last movie, obey, consume, sleep, watch our movie. So basically I'm gonna say Ready to Rumble, no, and I never will be.
I remember when this movie came out, and it was during the dying days of WCW. Basically, once WCW changed their logo, and they went from like the classic purple logo to that stupid little thing so that they could open up a gateway at the Nitro shows.
Mhm.
Once they changed all that, it just started going downhill, and then they hired they hired what the hell is Russo, but Vince Russo. They've hired Vince Russo, and he was okay. So Vince Russo was the head writer at WWF at the time, and he is partially responsible for the Attitude Era.
Mhm.
And I say partially responsible because he is, because he tries to take credit that he took over the whole thing. He's like, no, Vince McMahon was still the head guy. So Vince Russo partially responsible for the biggest thing that ever happened in professional wrestling at the time, and he was not under contract, and WCW went and they bought out his contract. So all of a sudden he's working for them. And it just was all downhill stuff because he is what it's called a hot shotter. Every week, let's try to outdo what we did last week. And it's like if you don't have down weeks,
Mhm.
you can the good weeks are never there because you're always trying to top what you did last week, and it's impossible to do that. You can't do that. It's like at the church, we do these worship nights, and people
Oh,
love the worship nights. And I'm like, well, I'd love to do a worship night every month, but number one, that's going to kill our it's going to kill our people because it's a lot of extra work. And number two, it stops being special because we
yeah.
have one every month. And with wrestling, they were trying to make it where it lost the specialness because it's like, well, this wasn't as good as last week was. It's starting to go downhill, man. It's really starting to fade out.
Like Simpsons.
Yeah, like The Simpsons. Um, but yeah, this movie. It's kind of a disappointment, even as a wrestling fan, because it makes fun of wrestling fans.
Mhm.
The one scene, the perfect line that really kind of sums up this whole movie is when he's at the drive-through and she calls him a loser, and she goes, "Would a loser have 2 tickets to tonight's Nitro in Cheyenne?" And she goes, "Yes."
Mhm.
And that just sums up this whole movie. It just makes wrestling fans look like the biggest losers ever. As if we went and just started telling everybody who listens to the BM show that they're a loser.
Yeah.
That's what this company did. You like our product? Well, you must be stupid.
Mhm.
And I'm
I
like,
love how you just showed the ending of the movie, like it matters because we're sitting there saying, "Don't watch this."
yeah, it's a horrible movie. It's like, even if you're a wrestling fan, like, if you're a wrestling fan and you're a completist, like you have to see all the wrestling movies, then by all means do see this. It's got Macho Man Randy Savage. It's got DDP. It's got a lot of these wrestling icons who were available in WCW. Basically, everybody but Hogan,
Mm,
in the NWO were in it. And this would have been better. And instead of Oliver Platt, it was Hulk Hogan. That's what they
yeah.
should have done. It should have been Hulk Hogan where people are tired of him, and these 2 guys are Hulkamaniacs, and they go and they get him to come back and be the Hulkster again. This could have been what brought him out of being Hollywood Hogan. They could have
It's
been the movie could have been, quote, unquote, "part of the story," instead of being
possible it could have been.
yeah.
It is possible that's the direction they wanted to go, but Hulk Hogan said no. I mean, that could be, and then they're like, "Well, what are we gonna do now? Let's just get somebody who we can pretend's a wrestler."
And, like,
You
it's like, why would he, like, look bad? He was like, well, show like, I mean, the stuff with Oliver Platt, they'd have to, like, loosen it up a little bit and make it look like that, like he's not a divorced fucking loser who drinks and lives in a trailer park, but
Mhm.
speaking of his wives, let me see if I can find, we'll just let it run. If you've seen the movie, the wife is played by Caroline Ray, and I was gonna, like, this is a story that I was gonna leave as part of this. So Caroline Ray, she used to host what became of the Rosie O'Donnell show.
Mhm.
So Rosie O'Donnell used to have a talk show, and it was good money. Actually, I think it was produced by the David Letterman company, and it used to take place literally at the same place Dave Letterman's show would take place at. So they'd have to strike the set and then rebuild it for his show, and then strike that down and rebuild it for her show every single day. It would have been great. Oof. I would have hated doing that. But anyways, she did this show called she did the Rosie O'Donnell show, and I think it lasted for like a year or 2. No, no, I'm mentioning actually here's Caroline Ray, one of her scenes. Um,
Mhm.
and she ended up leaving the show. I forget why. It was some stupid reason she left the show. And they had these guest hosts, and one of the guest hosts was Caroline Ray, and Caroline Ray actually started doing a really good job. And I actually thought that Caroline Ray was actually really funny. But then I would watch like Sabrina the Teenage Witch, where she's one of the aunts, and I really didn't like that show. And in this movie, I don't care how good she is, she can't save it. And
Mm.
she's not that good to begin with.
Yeah, true.
It's like bringing in your worst closer to help you lose this baseball game. Uh,
I think she's kind of typecasted herself as that kind of, I want to say, annoying woman role. Uh,
yeah.
and she's stuck in that role in this movie as well too. It's kind of like an annoying female role that just happens to also be um in a bad situation.
Mm.
So
Yeah. So, yeah, this movie is, I don't recommend it at all. It's not even so bad it's good. There are some parts that are funny that I did laugh out loud for, but, like, as a whole, it's like, how your car is worth less money than the parts to make up the car?
mm,
That's this movie. There's some scenes that are good, but the whole rest of the movie doesn't make it for the rest of the movie sucking.
yeah. I'm gonna take that one further here. Obviously, I'm giving a thumbs down, but I'm gonna take it one further. So, everyone, just to let you know, Ben and I, we were talking recently about doing something that was a tournament for the worst movies that we've done. The problem is we are gonna do a tournament of 8. We came up with 7 of them. I would like to nominate Ready to Rumble to be number 8 so that we can roll with this tournament.
Okay.
There we go.
And there's my favorite wrestler when I was growing up, Macho Man Randy Savage, getting beaten up by Oliver Platt.
Exactly. And that's so convincing.
Oliver Platt is beating up Macho Man was in Spider-Man. He was in a bigger
Yes.
movie than any of the rest of the people who are in this movie. Even, I mean, David Arquette, I mean, you can argue that maybe Scream was the same level as Spider-Man, I guess. But
Well, the thing is, Macho Man was not in Spider-Man. Spider-Man had Bone Crusher.
yeah, who was played by Randy Paffa, who also happens to be the Macho
Yeah. With "I got you for 3 minutes."
Man. Brother.
And then we're done with this one. Get it off. We're done seeing that.
Okay, we're to see the Macho Man get an interview on Saturday Night's program. So now we're on to the next movie.
Yep.
This one, I love it when I am pleasantly surprised, even though I kind of had a feeling what kind of movie this.
Don't you have to do the synopsis first?
Yeah, I'm looking from my window. I'm just filling time. Okay.
Oh, okay.
The Peanut Butter Falcon is a 2019 American comedy drama filmed and written, directed. Wow, okay. Written and directed by Tyler Nilson and Michael Schwartz in their directorial debut. I can't talk today. The film stars Shia LaBeouf, Dakota Johnson, and Zach Gottsagen. Got Gottsagen?
Mhm.
Zach Gottsagen, a young actor with Down syndrome. The story follows Zach, a young man who escapes from a state-run care facility to pursue his dream of becoming a professional wrestler. Along the way, he befriends Tyler, a troubled fisherman on the run, and together they embark on a journey through the American South. Eleanor, Zach's caretaker, eventually joins them in their travels. Blending Mark Twain-inspired storytelling with heartfelt performances, The Peanut Butter Falcon received critical acclaim for its uplifting narrative, strong performances, and authentic portrayal of the disability. It was a sleeper hit and a major indie success. This was a heartwarming movie. I was expecting the indie feel, and it does have the indie feel to it, where it does feel like this is supposed to be the greatest movie you ever seen, and you don't know why it's not. Um,
Mhm.
but it is. It's got Mark Twain feel to it.
Mhm.
It's this kid. He wants to be a wrestler, and he ends up talking to Lloyd from Wings, uh, who that guy. How he became a bigger star. That's kind of cool, actually. He's also the guy who plays Sandman in Spider-Man 3. Uh, so he ends up becoming like these guys. They go on this wild adventure where, like, yeah, it's like Mark Twain, where he's trying to go down the river to go to this wrestling school, and he ends up meeting up with this guy Tyler, who just pissed off a bunch of people, so he's on the run from a group of guys who wanna kick his ass, and they're just trying to make their way south so he can go to this wrestling school. They end up finding out that the wrestling school has been, well, I don't wanna ruin the story, but
Yeah, yeah.
it's heartwarming. It's a very, very heartwarming story that is, if you're a wrestling fan, even if you're not a wrestling fan, if you just like these kind of movies, that are, these indie films,
Mhm.
this is the type of, these heartwarming films where it's like it's a happy ending. What the ending is gonna be, I'll let you find out when you watch the movie, but, it's a good film.
Yeah. So yeah, I also love this movie a lot. And it the way that I stumbled on it was because of Maria. Maria's I believe Maria's sister has Down syndrome. So Maria gravitates to a lot of these movies. And she finds them like crazy just going through like Amazon Prime where it's children with disabilities and the movies just kind of made around that aspect, and she really gets into those. We found this one, and we didn't expect much from it, but we both just absolutely loved it. I think it's interesting that you it mentioned Mark Twain because I was kind of gonna go in the same direction, but a different direction. I had mentioned with the Search for Animal Chin. The Search for Animal Chin felt very Stand By Me like,
Yeah.
and I think this also feels very Stand By Me like with a little bit more mature, um, level to it. But it does have that sense of adventure, and it feels like the movie's interesting because it feels like it could be a family movie in the way that's uplifting and how they get together, but it also has a very mature level to it to where it might be pushing it for kids to see something like this, but I think they'll be able to get through it. I mean, there's no way you're not going to like um Zach. I don't remember what his last name was. But he does just such a good job. This movie, he's such a likable character. I think one of the best parts of it is when he has to come up with that one line that's that big threatening line, and he comes out with, "You're not invited to my birthday party." And if you go through the movie, you're gonna understand why that's such an important line, and it's just an amazing part to hear, because at that point, then you just totally connect with him, and you're just totally on his side, and you're just wanting to see the guy he was up against just to get the beat down. Um, and I like how it's hard to see this as two good guys, because the past that I don't remember the other character's name now.
Tyler.
Tyler, thank you. The past that he had, like, just recently before he met Zach's character, and it's a very dark character. And now he's getting this opportunity to turn around, and you can see the evolution happen in him throughout the movie.
Oh yeah, he's the character arc.
Mm.
Definitely. His character, Tyler, has the character arc where he starts off where he's like he's got this thing like his brother passed away and he's dealing with it, but he's dealing with he's just being a recluse. And this movie, he ends up meeting pretty much a little brother, and he becomes the big brother that his big brother was, and that's the connection there. And I gotta say, I don't like Shia LaBeouf. I will avoid movies just because he's in it. And I enjoyed him in this movie. I thought that
Yeah.
he was probably the best actor in the whole film.
Mhm. Yeah,
So,
absolutely. Yeah, he did a very good job in this one. So, and also another part that I really like in this movie that I do want to mention is the part with the boat coming down the river, and where Zach's character was getting pulled across the river, because of the fact that they get out of the water, and he mentions, like, this is going to be a story to remember.
yeah, and then he ends up like telling the story to the caretaker afterwards. Yeah.
Yeah. And it sums up this whole movie. This whole movie is basically revolved around this is going to be an event to remember and to tell on.
I don't think of the three movies that we're doing tonight, this is probably the one with the biggest budget, and this is an independent film.
Yeah, and you're probably right.
This is definitely a great film. I think it handles the Down syndrome very well. I love that Tyler's character is like, because at first, Zach is telling them that he's got Down syndrome as almost a way of getting like sympathy from him,
Mhm.
and he goes, "I don't give a shit."
Yeah.
Like, "I don't care. I don't care what you like, people would just call you that because they think you can't do stuff, but you could do stuff, you know?
Mm.
And he ends up helping Zach's character become a man.
Yeah.
Basically telling, like, just because you got this issue doesn't mean you can't be a man.
And it's good that you mentioned that, because that's really reflected on when he gets to his wrestling match. And if you haven't seen this movie, you may want to plug your ears for a minute or so, because I am going to spoil something right now. When you think about the point where he comes out, they announce his name, the Peanut Butter Falcon. He comes out, and you have the Sandman's character, I forget his name, the saltwater redneck. His reaction was he's like, "Oh dear, he's wearing cardboard," and everyone just totally quiet, and they kind of don't know how to react, and they're viewing what they see, and then when you get him into the ring, everything just kind of turns around, and everyone's cheering for him, and he has that conflict where he has that person that says, "This isn't going to be a Make a Wish event," and goes hard on him, and he prevails. It really puts his condition. It doesn't make it a joke. It doesn't make it a drawback for him. It shows that he has this a condition. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
He can do this stuff, and it does that. This movie does that so well.
I'm not gonna get into the realism of the wrestling because I didn't cover it in the other movie in the other movie either. Um, but it was like it's cool because they had like Jake the Snake Roberts was one of the trainers. Um, so there's not much in the way of like wrestling cameos in this, like there were in the other films.
Yeah.
Just Jake Roberts. That's about it.
Mhm.
But yeah, this was definitely a surprise, a pleasant surprise. I enjoyed this movie. I thought it was very heartwarming, and it's just one of those movies that you feel like you should like it more than you do, but not out of like Not that there's anything wrong with it. It's just this could be some people's favorite movie.
Mhm.
I'll put it in that category because this feels like this should be like my favorite movie of the year, but it's not going to be.
I think you could say it as it's a movie that maybe you'll watch once a year or once every other year, but you're not gonna put it on back to back.
Yeah,
So,
yeah,
if you watch it, you're gonna love it.
yeah. This is like in the category that noises off as that, where it's like it's a movie you'll watch like maybe every couple of years. Like you got a friend who's over your house and they're like, "Oh, you don't watch wrestling?" It's like, "No, I don't watch wrestling, but have you ever seen Peanut Butter Falcon?"
Exactly.
And then they all, "Well, if you're like wrestling, check out this movie with me. It's called Peanut Butter Falcon. It's 90 minutes." Which I loved. I'm like, "This movie is not long at all. It moves at a good pace. There's just enough story for it to be a 90-minute movie. There's a little bit of religion in it when they meet the blind man who, actually baptizes
Yeah.
our hero here, Zach, the Peanut Butter Falcon."
Mhm.
And, yeah, it's like these guys, they become brothers, and it's like one of them is healing and the other one is growing.
Yeah.
'Cause, like, Tyler's character, he is healing from what happened with the trauma that happens with his brother, and it shows you it's actually it's a Christian film in a lot
Mhm.
of respects, but not, like, talking about Christianity and nonstop. It's touched on, but the story itself, and it's showing that, like, just because you have a disability, it doesn't make you less of a person. If you and you could do things that you don't think you can do, and you just need somebody who, like, takes the time to show you how to do it. To and that's what Tyler does. Tyler shows him how to do things. He takes the time to show him.
And I actually see it in reverse here. I actually think Zach's character shows Tyler how to do things, and I think Tyler
That's true too, though. That's true too. And it shows that you can learn from everybody.
Mhm. Yeah,
You don't have to like just because somebody is like just because they have a disability, it doesn't mean that you can't learn from something from them. You
exactly.
know, everybody's got their everybody's good at something.
Mhm.
Is always how I look at it. Everybody, they got something. I like my ex-girlfriend.
Mhm.
I used to think she was dumb as a box of rocks at times.
Uh-huh.
I asked her about skincare, and she's a genius at skincare.
Mhm.
She don't know much about anything else, but she knew about skincare.
Mhm.
You know, but it just shows you, like, I mean, she knew other stuff. She's not an idiot, but it just shows you, like, you think, like, you go and you paint, like, someone in a box, and then all of a sudden they show you, like, they surprise you at something is the point.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So what do you I think we already know what we're gonna say here. Thumbs up or thumbs down, Ben?
This is a thumbs up.
This is a definite thumbs up for me. Now, I do wanna give you an opportunity if you want to talk about how you saw this movie or maybe say where you saw this movie.
Actually, I was gonna lead in, anyways. So, if you guys didn't put it together, because our episode started a little different last week, me and Mike were in the same room because I was, on my annual West Coast tour. It wasn't planning to be a tour usually, but it just happened to work out that way because I decided I wanted to go check out the last Blockbuster in Bend, Oregon.
Mhm.
Mike, if you ever go for a drive up to Bend, Oregon, it is a beautiful drive. It is the
Yeah.
most beautiful drive I've ever been on in my entire life. Actually would rather do the drive again than more anything else. If I could do the drive from here, that would be phenomenal. I gotta fly across the country to go do this drive, which is a bit beat, but whatever. Um, this so I did on this long drive. I did 6 hours nonstop. My arm was like killing me the next day because I was holding it in the same position. Um, but I went to Blockbuster and I wanted to rent a movie and have the movie for the night. And the movie that I rented was Peanut Butter Falcon. I was like, "What am I gonna rent?" Went up to the guy at the counter and I'm like, "Yeah, I'm looking for a movie. I don't think you're gonna have it, but I just thought I'd ask. I'm looking for Peanut Butter Falcon." And the guy's face lit up. He goes, "Not only do we have it, that's one of my favorite movies." And he brought me to the wall where they have the recommended by the staff
Uh-huh.
movies.
Mhm.
And he pulled it from there, from his section of the recommended by staff.
Uh-huh.
So That's how I watched the movie. I watched it from Blockbuster Video. Wow, what a difference.
How was it like going into Blockbuster like after all these years?
It feels like the same. I was expecting myself to be emotional, and I wasn't as emotional as I thought I was gonna be. It just kind of felt like I'm at Blockbuster,
Uh-huh.
and it's kinda cool, and I looked around and stuff, but, like, it's a museum and a store and a gift shop all together, and it's all like the gift shop has its own section. The actual store itself is kind of spread out around it, along with the museum pieces. And it's an interesting thing. Like I would say to people, do not do like. It wasn't my main reason. My main reason was to go for the drive. I wanted to go and clear my head, and I figured it gives me some place to go. So that was my main reason. This is not your main reason to go to Oregon. But if you go to Oregon because you're gonna go check out Crater Lake or go to one of the many state and national parks that are up there,
Mm,
which is why the drive was so good. If that's your reason to go up there, make going to the last Blockbuster part of your trip.
yeah. So they do have like Blockbuster merchandise inside of it?
Yes, I bought a T-shirt. I actually bought a Blockbuster name tag as if I was like an employee there. I almost bought the polo shirt that they had the employees wear, but the polo shirt was like $60.
Wow.
And I'm like, I'm already moving money around to make this trip happen because the rental car ended up being a little bit more than I thought it was gonna be.
Yeah.
So I'm already moving money, and I'm like, well, I gotta move more money to go buy a polo shirt. And the guy was like, "Oh, we sell them on the website." I'm like, "Oh, never mind. I'll just get one later
Yeah.
if I really want one." Because I thought it would be cool to do YouTube videos wearing a Blockbuster polo shirt with a Blockbuster name tag.
Mhm.
I thought it would be a nice like almost a cosplay in a way.
Makes also an easy Halloween costume.
Yeah, exactly. I could be a Blockbuster employee.
Mhm. Yep.
But yeah, that was my Blockbuster experience. I have videos. I'm actually gonna. I'm trying to make a video of it. I actually sat down at my hotel room and I actually set up my camera and I actually did a kind of a sit down interview with myself,
Uh-huh.
going through the whole thing. And I gotta just go through and work with that. I just haven't had a chance to like sit down yet. I just started going through my photos and stuff.
Mhm.
Like, I had to catch up for work, and I had, like I had it took me, like, 3 days just to catch up on stuff. I took 5 days off, and it took me 3 days to catch up on my work, so
Yeah, it's kind of the drawback to work, like going on vacation from work is the day you get back, it's just, you're gonna get bombarded by stuff.
yeah, like, I went to work that night. I got home at, like, 10:30 in the morning because it was a red eye, and then that night I went to work, and then I worked Thursday, and at the same time, like, I had jet lag, which is I'm
Mhm.
still getting over jet lag because going east sucks.
Yeah.
Going west is a lot easier than going east. You go west, you just stay up later.
Yeah.
You go east, you gotta get up earlier.
Mhm.
Totally different.
Yeah, then you got people calling you the next morning like, "Everything's all wrong with the description." What a jerk would do something like that.
Oh, you went and called me like I'm literally about to go to bed. I just got everything ready so I can go to sleep after getting off the plane, and then you call me and say it's urgent.
Yeah.
I'm like, we don't do anything that's urgent.
Yeah, well,
Sure doesn't come out, no one's gonna die.
Mm.
But yeah, we had to figure it out. We had it all figured out. And I ended up, like I said, we had these great movies, and I had a great time out there. We went to we had a good time. Me and you, we did our show live with the boys. It was the first time all of the four parts of the BM squared were all together.
Yep.
We had a bit of a history. If you go and look at our Spotify stuff, you can find like all kinds of episodes. We went like a year where it was like the four of us, and then
Yeah,
like
we did.
yeah, we did a lot of episodes. But yeah, it's good time had by all. It was nice it was nice to see everybody and to get to hang out and to get meet Barrett for the first time in person.
Yep. And try Halo Halo and Conchitas for the first time, Gancitos for the first time.
Yep.
Chicken and the biscuit. How'd the chicken and the biscuit go?
That was what I had for the car ride because like I said, I drove for 6 hours straight. I literally had to stop because I finally had to go to the bathroom so bad I couldn't hold it anymore. And I stopped like an hour away from the Blockbuster because I was trying to. My idea was I'll stop, but let me get as close to the Blockbuster as I can get, because then I'll feel comfortable. Because I'll know then I had to get there before 8 o'clock. I got there at 7:30.
Oh, geez.
Yeah,
Good timing.
yeah. But I went back the next day and I brought my movie back and I talked to the manager and I asked him a couple questions. And he was, I didn't want to like do a full formal interview, so I just asked him like, how many members do you think you have? And he's like, we probably have over 1,000 members. And I'm like, okay, out of those members, how many do you think are just tourists like me who just open up an account just for the experience of it? And they're like, oh, probably a good couple hundred. And then I'm like, how many movies do you have? And they're like, oh, we have like 15,000 movies,
Wow.
which the store's kind of small. So I'm wondering like how they fit 15,000 movies in that room. But I think you might have been exaggerating a bit, but whatever.
I wonder if I wonder how much actual like reoccurring business in the area that they turn over.
Yeah, that's what I was asking because I'm like trying to figure out like, you guys are obviously making money, but how much of that money is coming in from tourists versus like Joe Smith who lives here in Bend, Oregon and likes renting movies.
Exactly.
And I think a lot of it was tourists because
Yeah.
when I was there Monday night, I was the only tourist, and oh no, I was like one other group. Like there was a husband and wife that were there. They were also tourists, and we're just looking around like at the gift shop.
Yeah.
And then the next day when I went on set on Tuesday morning, um, it was like 3 or 4 families were in there, and they were full on tourist mode. Like, "Hey, kids, this is where mom and dad used to go every Friday night to go get a movie," and showing them and, like, the whole rental experience, and they were
Yeah.
taking pictures and all kinds of stuff, and I'm like, "The place is really popping."
Mhm.
So, I get out of there, and I decide I'm gonna go over to Salem, Oregon, which is on, Bend is, like, towards the middle of the state, and while Salem is on the coastline south of Portland.
Uh-huh.
So, I drove out to Salem to go to the last Game Crazy.
Mhm.
The last Game Crazy was a little bit more depressing. I went in there, there's empty shelves, I'm the only customer in the store, I'm there with the owner's working, like, that type of thing. It's like, I think the Blockbuster might last for a while, but I wonder if the last Game Crazy will.
Yeah. Probably not, unfortunately.
Who knows? Then again, most game stores, like, I go into the local one here, and there's times when the place is dead too. So, I might have just went there at the wrong time.
Mhm.
But the fact that we were empty shelves kinda told me a lot. Like, okay, empty shelves is never a good sign. Like,
Exactly.
you're being the owner, you wanna put anything on them shelves, anything. Just have something there, just but yeah, that was part of my trip there. It was a good time. Like I said, the drive was amazing. I liked the rental car that I had. I thought it was a nice car.
Yeah. Perfect. Well,
Yeah.
we'll see you back again, hopefully.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm probably gonna do another trip this summer. I wanna go up to Vermont.
Okay.
So maybe I'll do that. But yep.
All right. Well,
Um, do we have more to talk about?
I don't. I think we've run out of things to talk about for tonight.
All right, let me stop sharing my screen here. How do I do that? I gotta go and change windows. Where's the window that I
I
have?
think you
I have
just
like
I think you just click share the screen again to turn it off.
I got a million windows open because I was like doing like a bunch of stuff. Oh, here's the window. Okay. Stop sharing.
So there it goes. So
Stop. All
next
right.
week it will be interesting because we're going to a topic we don't really talk much about, which is music, which we should talk more about music.
Yeah, you think that's like how we met each other too, is like through
Yeah.
music. We would talk about it more.
Next topic is going to be a triggering topic, which is going to be one legendary album from, and the rest of the group stuff is not that good. Um, so we're going to talk about those groups that had just one album that was amazing, and then the rest is forgettable. And we're actually going to do This Is Spinal Tap.
Oh, I gotta watch that now.
Yes.
Do I have that? I'll have to find it. We were gonna watch it while I was there, but I was falling asleep.
Yeah. Yep.
That's all of a sudden like 1 o'clock in the morning was my 4 o'clock in the morning, and I'm like, I should be sleeping.
Yeah, I understand.
I got up at 6:30 in the morning when I'm like thinking, oh wow, it's 3:30 in the morning in California.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I'm definitely out at that point.
Yeah.
So look forward to that. And with that, Ben, you get to end the recording, so you get to choose who gets the last word.
Mike, you get the last word.
Cream cheese.